Hi and welcome to my channel. Now today's review is on this Audiotronic LX-1200X stereo receiver. Not a name that springs to mind when you're talking about hi-fi. I think it come and went pretty quickly. A cheap make would have been fairly cheap, would have been low budget back when it came out. I'm not too sure when this receiver come out. I'm really going to stab a guess here and cover all bases, maybe in say mid-70s, somewhere around there. Not a lot of information about this receiver. And again, I can't tell you how many watts a channel is. I'm going to guess at about 20 watts a channel. I think it's around about where it's going to be. Okay, let's have a little look inside. There you go, there's inside. Not a lot in here really, to be honest with you. It's some small little boards here. There's the top looking down, the amplifier towards the back, and the tuner part there. If we flick it over, you can see the power supply, preamp and all that underneath, and the tone control board, etc. So if we come around the front, we'll just have a quick look at the back before we come around the front. There's the connections we've got at the back. So there's quite a few connections. Not too keen on these screw speaker terminals, but it's got the fuses at the back, just in case anything goes wrong. You haven't got to open it up. The fuses around the back, and it's in a lovely kind of wood veneer case. Well, solid wood actually. I know this isn't wood veneer. This is a solid wood case. So that's nice. I think if you give that a polish, that'll come up and look nice. At the front we've got the tuner bit here, we've got the power, we've got the phones, we've got speakers 1 and 2, separate switch for each. We've got the I filter on and off, we've got the loudness, we've got the mode, stereo and mono, and we've got the tape monitor button there. We've got the old tuning dial there. We've got the selector there where we can select AM, FM auto, phono and auxiliary. And we've got our controls here, volume, bass, treble, volume, balance, treble and bass. Now these are the old slider controls. Not a great fan of slider controls really, to be honest with you. I prefer the old turnaround controls. I don't know how you feel about slider controls, but I'm not a great fan of them. But anyway, that's what it's got. And there is a different model out of this, I think a black one, that's got kind of like square covers for these sliders rather than the round ones. It looks slightly different. This is black. It looks slightly different, but yeah, it maybe come out a year earlier or something like that. I don't know, but that's what that's got. But all in all, it's not a bad looking receiver. It's not too bad at all. So use this scenario, pair it up a few different pairs of speakers when I had time around the house, etc., in a few different rooms as well. Been lucky enough to do that over the last week or so. That's how it comes. I've been disappeared for quite a while now. So yeah, how did it sound? Just before I go on to the sound, I just want to say you're going to pick this up mainly in the UK on eBay, places like that, Gumtree, all that kind of stuff, Facebook Marketplace. It may be it may go around the west of the world, America and places like Canada, etc. It may do. But I think primarily this is going to be picked up in the UK, and you're not going to pay a lot of money for it either. You're going to pay £20 or £30 for one of these. You're not going to pay much more than that. So that's probably going to give you an indication to how this sounds, because they don't go for a lot of money when they come up. They don't come up all the time, but they don't go for a lot of money. So where should I start? Because I've got quite a few bits written down for this amplifier, believe it or not. Like I say, different speakers, different rooms, all that kind of stuff, different kind of music and all that. Now, I think I'm going to start with the soundstage actually, first of all. Now, this here is, because I like listening to the music near field and also in the room, two different kind of aspects of the music. For the near field, you're going to pick up all the instrument placements, all that kind of stuff. You're going to get a good stereo image. When you walk back into the room, obviously that's going to fizzle out a little bit, shall we say. So yeah, I've kind of got a seating position. Now and again, you just have to move it maybe a foot either way or something like that, just to get the nice sweet spot. But with this amplifier here, it's got such a big soundstage that I had to step back, sit back quite a bit more than I normally do. In fact, it kind of caught me by surprise, because I was sitting in normal position. I thought this doesn't sound right. So this doesn't sound right. I'm missing some stuff. What's happening, kind of thing. That kind of thing. And I didn't twig. I kind of moved back a foot or so either way. And I think it's not happening. I stepped back a little bit more, probably another yard or something like that, maybe a bit further, maybe 2 yards. I actually went back, which is like for a sweet spot kind of thing, and near field you don't really do kind of thing. But this has got such a big sound stage. It's a massive wide sound stage, and it's an high sound stage as well. Yeah, so like you step back, and not near field's probably not the way to listen to this amplifier, because I much more preferred it, the actual sound stage I was getting from it, stepping right back into the room, because this literally filled up the whole wall with sound. Now, these are just a small pair of speakers I'm using for, for this particular test. That I realised what was happening. I think it was the Wolfdale Diamond Freeze. I use them speakers because they're good little speakers, and I use the what do you call it, the Celestion 3s as well, because they're not expensive speakers. You can go and pick out either pair for about 30 or 40 pound, and you're going to get yourself a tiny little pair of speakers. You're going to do a lot worse for spending that money, that's for certain. So they're, you know, two good little speakers. I'm not going to say that they're fantastic, they're the best, they're brilliant, nothing like that, but they're two good little pairs of speakers that for the money you're going to get some good enjoyment out of, and they're great for a little near field and a very small set of speakers to set up with the amp. And obviously I'll move on to others, but they literally sounded massive. Them little speakers sounded massive when connected up to this amplifier, because like I say, it actually spread the sound around so much that it was like being at a concert kind of thing. It's like being maybe at Live Aid or something like that and sitting up near the front kind of thing. It's just absolutely like, it was everywhere. It was enjoyable to that extent because it was everywhere. It was getting involved and it was just filled up the old house kind of thing. I brought it downstairs and set it up, and even with a small set of speakers, it managed to fill up the living room with sounds bouncing everywhere kind of thing. So maybe not a good thing if you're really into hi-fi, but if you just want to enjoy yourself and sit back and listen to some music, you know, listen to music and get on, you know, feel like being there kind of thing. This is the amplifier, and then 20 watts, I'm guessing the 20 watts, you doesn't have to move this volume too far to get a big sound out of this amplifier. Now, the actual sound's going to get a bit fatiguing over time, so this is not like an hi-fi amplifier of any such, you know what I mean? This is just an amplifier kind of thing that you're going to have to forget about, you know, being critical or anything like that with the sound, because the top end is going to get fatiguing. It's this is a lively, very lively amplifier. It's edgy. It's got that metallic ring to it, that metallic little ring to it when you know the higher ends and that. It's going to get fatiguing over time. The top end's got that little ring to it. The bass was good. The bass wasn't too bad. It had a fair bit of weight and punch. I mean, because it is quite a punchy amplifier. Like I say, it's got a big sound to it. The drums sounded pretty good. A reasonable amount of detail there. You know, it's got some tightness to it and some detail. Female and male vocals are okay. Nothing special. It's touch screechy, to be honest with you, in places. And even got male sibilance was coming through on here, where you usually maybe get it on the female, and the male sibilance was coming through on here. So it's not, you know, it's not fantastic, but it's okay, it's listenable, but it's not, you know, it's a party kind of amplifier, shall we say, or getting involved with it where you're not going to start being overcritical or anything like that. Because over a period of time, if you're actually going to sit down and try and enjoy yourself and sit down in the seat without bobbing about all over the room or something like that, or walking around the house listening to it and you've got a big sound coming from your living room or whatever, if you're going to sit down and start picking out detail on that, it's going to get fatiguing over time, I think. Always were pretty good. Had a reasonable amount of decay to them, etc. Would have wanted more detail, like I say. You know, this isn't really an hi-fi amplifier. It's okay, kind of thing. It's okay. You would have wanted more detail to it. You know, just lacking that finesse. It's just lacking that finesse. And if you've got a cheap pair of speakers or any speakers, you know, you may be. A couple of other pairs I've got that ain't so good as the diamonds and things. I just feel like, and even with the diamonds now, I just feel like I'm going to have to turn that treble down just a little bit to take away that edginess, take away that little bit of screechiness, all that kind of stuff, and that little bit of ringing, metallic ringing sound, just to ease it off a little bit and just make that you could listen to this for a longer, you know, period of time. But yeah, all in all, this amplifier, like I say, you're not going to pay a lot of money for it. That's one good thing. If you're having a party, here we go. This is a £20, £30 amplifier for a party. Someone puts a drink on it and spills it and blows it up. You're not going to worry about it, are you? You're going to forget about it. You know, 20 or 30 quid, you can't get nothing for 20 or 30 quid these days. So this is, if you're having a party, go and get this. Because you've got the tuner on there as well. Now let's just quickly go on the tuner. The tuner's not bad, it's not fantastic, but it's not bad, it does the job. And as for connecting a record player phono, it's okay. It's not the best in the world, but it's okay. You know what I mean? It's okay. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't tame the amplifier down at all. It doesn't kind of equalise it out a little bit. It doesn't do anything like that. It's pretty much the same as you would listen to maybe a CD or something like that on it. So they're okay. Nothing fantastic. They're, you know, like I say, 20 or 30 quid. Having a party or just want a complete change. You know, you may have a one setup. You want to get completely away from that setup. You want a big sound stage. You know, fill up the room. And when I say fill up the room, it fills it up wide and it fills it up to the, you're going to go floor to ceiling. You're going to have a wall of sound, literally a wall of sound with this amplifier. Obviously, that is maybe a bit dependent on some of the speakers you use, but basically that's what this amplifier does. And it's different. It really is different. You know what I mean? It's an amplifier that you're going to maybe get out now and again just to have a little bit of fun with, really, shall we say. So there you go. I say amplifier, it's actually a receiver, but I think, you know, you can listen to the radio on that, obviously, on it, but I think this is just something you're going to dig out. You're going to see maybe come up on eBay, £20, £30. I think I'll get that, just to have a complete change from the HiFi I've got have something completely different. Or you can have a party and you want to put your best gear up and you think, I need to get a cheap amp or something. Well, this is one, and I want it to fill the room, but this is one. This is ticking a lot of boxes for parties and being at a live event kind of thing, where you're not going to take too much attention to detail. So that's it. Until the next view, I'll say thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon.